Fox 66 News is your local election headquarters. Now that we've gone through the numbers, let's go into the analysis. Joining us now, Dr. Joe Morris, political analyst from Mercyhurst University. Dr. Morris, good to see you again. Always a pleasure on a night like tonight. Big takeaways so far. I know the numbers are incomplete, but what are your big takeaways?
Well, I've been paying close attention to the governor's race. It's obviously very important, and it looks like Mastriano just may pull this one out in a very big way. I expected that he would probably end up taking the Republican nomination, but I didn't necessarily expect he would do it by the margin he appears to be doing it.
Yeah, I think that took a lot of people by surprise. I mean, you're talking about close to 20% gap now between he and Barletta, right?
That's correct. And how much is that of that is due to Donald Trump, I don't think anyone will ever know. But you'll remember that he's a kind of last-minute endorsement he received from Donald Trump, and that may have given him just enough momentum to create that big gap.
Well, let's stay on the GOP side of the aisle, but talk about the Senate race and how the former president may have played a part in that, because, a lot of attention given to the fact that he endorsed Dr. Mehmet Oz. Oz and McCormick have a real dogfight going.
They most certainly do, and this is one that we expected to be a dogfight. I'm a little surprised Bennett didn't do a little bit better than she is doing at this point. But I think at the end of the day, probably if McCormick manages to hold on to this, I think Republicans might end up being quite happy with that decision in November. It seems to me he might be a little bit more competitive of a candidate in a statewide election.
Okay, interesting. Why do you think so?
Well, Donald Trump endorsed Oz, but McCormick has at least some connection to Pennsylvania that's more than just a few months residence in the state. Unlike Oz, he does have that connection, and he has a history of being a relatively moderate candidate in the past, taking relatively moderate positions on social issues, and that's something that I think will help him move toward the center, as he'll need to do in the general election.
I want to focus locally with the last couple of seconds we have. I know that the numbers are early. Is there anything we can read in the Pennsylvania House 4th District at this point, and what it says maybe about the state of the GOP in Erie County?
Yeah, well, that's I think that is a little bit too early. We're going to have to wait and see. Those elections are always tough to predict the outcome of. But I think it's very interesting that we had so many people, on the Republican side at least, seeking this office. And most of these folks were just ordinary people. People who had day jobs, attempting to run and earn a place in the state legislature, and I think this is really good for democracy.
I was going to say, a lot of people said they like to see the new blood get involved in politics, so it's good to see fresh faces on the ballot.
I think you're exactly right.
And Dr. Joe Morris of Mercyhurst University, we appreciate your time here at 10 o'clock. We'll talk to you a little later on tonight. For all the latest numbers, you can always keep an eye, again, on the bottom of your screen, as well as go to your local election headquarters, yourerie.com.